Hello and welcome to Alchemist Whim. I'm Alchemist Jen. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you're having a good one. Happy day to you. Whatever day it is, happy day, happy day. I'm gonna work on a little bit of knitting while I chat and ponder, pontificate, all that good stuff. I was taking a look, since I'm grabbing yarn, making sure that I'm not gonna have a little furry visitor, because then that will keep me from actually doing some knitting. So I was scoping out the scenario. I've not seen movement yet, so we'll see what happens. We'll see if I can knit through the whole thing. Maybe not. So today's whim of the day, I think, is just to talk a little bit about some creative things that I want to accomplish this week. So I would like to do more fabrics. So I want to do some more sections so I can have some more versatility in my backdrop here, but then also be able to use this for what it was intended for, because I had a totally different thing that I wanted to do with it, and then I started filming and I was like, oh, that would work great, and then I just hung tapestries and things off of there too. So that worked great for being able to have variety of backgrounds, but then now I just want variety of backgrounds. So I'm thinking that I want to do a couple of options that I just want to use for backgrounds, and then I can just rotate them out and make things out of them as I want to. So I'm going to work on some fabric for that this week. Then I will be able to pull this off, retire it from this use, and be able to use it to make some things. So I'm thinking some bandanas for sure. I can get some really good larger pieces, and I like to do larger than average bandanas just because I like the ability to tie it a little easier than a traditional size 21 by 21 inch bandana. So I like to do 24 by 24 inch. So I don't know if it's enjoyed or not, but that's kind of, I mean, I haven't seen much feedback on it yet. So I'll keep you posted. I'll have more bandanas. I only have one in stock. Technically, it's not even up on my website, so fun times. So yeah, bandanas. I'll be working through some more wrist cuffs, I think, and shawl cuffs, because they can be multi-purpose. And then work through some patches. So those are on my agenda. And then I also have some other stretches of fabric that I want to make into other things. So I think I'm going to work on some patches, potentially some smaller size tapestry type things, just not some of the bigger pieces that I've been doing. So I'm rolling around some ideas. I'm having fun with it, and I'm just kind of seeing where the whim takes me on those, and just letting the fabric tell me what it wants to be. I like the idea of being able to tap into, you know, that true artistic mode, and just kind of running with it, not really having a full plan going into it, just kind of seeing what happens. I find I have better joy in it, but I also have better results being open and being flexible to kind of what will come out of it. So those are my thoughts. Yeah, I'm definitely going to work on some clay works this week, because I definitely want to work on my mold making skills. So I've worked on some little spheres. I want to play with this this clay that I've gotten, and I want to play with making of molds, because I want to learn how to do it. And I figure as I'm learning, you know, I'll get some things that I can use, but it's not necessarily the place that I know I want to go with it. It just gives me a real starting point and a place to practice, and then figure out, you know, what I like about it and what do I want to do with it next. So Because I tend to have many creative things that I'm into, I need to keep my focus, I guess is probably the best way to say it, to make sure that I'm doing the right things at the right time, that I'm not too distracted by other things and not doing the things that I should. So for instance, I'm going to be dyeing some fiber this week, so being able to set that up successfully is important, as I have a commission and I have a deadline for that too, getting it done and dry as soon as possible. So like that's a huge priority compared to you know, dyeing fabric or making things that you know, I just want to have available for shows. But I mean, right now I'm ready for the shows, minus I want to dye some more yarn, because yarn is what people, you know, really gravitate towards, and so I need to make sure that I have enough yarn. My best sellers for sure. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'll need to order some yarn. Need to work on dyeing fabric. The nice thing with that is that I can just do it in my tub. It's all ice dyed, so I'll set it up for a nice 40 to 24 hour block. I don't even use the 48-hour blocks. I could get some more intensity on some of them, but I mean, you can see I get good colors. So the 24 hours is working for me for curing, and I get good drip from the ice. So I'm excited to have some more things to dye. I have a bunch of clothing, so that'll be different for me too. And then with that, I'm really looking forward to being able to stock some in my shop and being able to have a release that way. Potentially also stocking some consignment style clothing in other shops as well too. So you know, I'm really looking at some different avenues and possibilities, just to kind of expand a little bit, but also to play with some different things. Being able to dye clothing, but then also being able to print on them is really kind of intriguing. So printmaking and dyeing on things is fun. So with that, I know I want to be making more blocks, and so it's like the Laura Numeroff picture books. If you give a mouse a cookie, and then there's this whole like thing that, you know, one thing leads to another, and it becomes another thing, another thing, another thing. I really feel like my creative journey tends to follow those markers at times. You know, think about it. I mean, I started knitting, crocheting, and then I'm like, I want to be able to control the color of my yarn, and that's when I started dyeing forever and ever ago. And then I finally was able to say, you know, it's really something that I enjoyed doing, so then I took it on professionally as opposed to just kind of a random thing that I was into, you know, a while ago. So it's interesting to see the different things that I get into, but then also to see the things that I kind of pause on. Like I have paper to make, and I just haven't got into that mental space and time frame and place to be able to make it. And I find that once I jump into it, I think it's going to be fine, but like I have the paper pulp still in the plastic bag. I haven't even put it into a bucket to get access to it to make the papers. So I mean, it's like literally right in front of me as I'm sitting here filming. So you know, I see it every single day, and so eventually I'll get there. But it's just kind of also nice to have those projects that are kind of waiting for me to be ready. You know, I'm ready to do them when it's the time to do them. So I think that there's some grace and understanding that goes into just that creative process as well. There are things that I, you know, need to do, and then there are things that I want to do, and then there are things that you know, I think I'm ready to do or feel up to doing. So yeah, so those are my thoughts for today. Just what I'm looking at the next week is a lot of dyeing. So then we'll be able to go from there. I think that's really the takeaway from today. Is it's gonna be a dying week, so I'm no doubt have much to share from that. As I prep them to, I will have some level of some photos available on my other platforms as well. So I do a lot on Instagram as far as visibility goes into the process. And then one thing I'm working on the, I do some things on TikTok, but not as much. So one thing I'm working on is trying to have consistency there. I'm looking for ways to do like affirmations and short little clips of videos, maybe even some stop motion. So I'm going to be making creatures out of resin, and I was thinking maybe that might be a thing. So, it may or may not actually work out to something like that, but if it does, it does. If not, it's totally okay. And we'll just see how it develops. Starting out with an idea and then running with it to see where it lands, and just kind of going with my gut as I go. So that's what I'm working on this week. That's the whim of the day. So we'll see where the whim takes us tomorrow. I'm going to show you my knitting progress as I got some rows in, and then I'm going to just do a little check and see if I've gotten enough rows to be able to make the next opening in my silly scarflet. And another thing that I'm going to be working on is making sure that my tutorials and my patterns are all available in zine format. I just thought that that would be really fun, having little booklets. There's a big zine following locally, so I think having something crafty on that and always having a zine area and things would be nice. I easily jump into zine events when they happen too. So those are my thoughts currently. And we're going to do a measurement. Looks like we're almost there. So nice thing is, once I've already counted my rows, if I fold it in half, so there's my progress on my silly scarflet. I've got 2 holes, and then folding it over on itself, seeing how it lines up. Actually, I might be, just about there. So I can see on the top part, see those 2 rows? So I'm like just 2 rows away from having that be the exact same number of rows that I had my other one. So I like the balance, I like that, but I also like not having to count the rows to tell myself that I'm ready for that. So being able to use it as a measurement against itself is just really fun for my brain. So that's where I am at this moment. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a good one. We'll see where the whim takes us tomorrow. Toodaloo.